Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be looking at the dynamic range. Again, this is another dynamic range video of this time we're doing a full frame camera, the D700, with a really old camera which many of you may not know about, but many of you may know about, which is the Fuji S5Pro digital SLR. Now this is the last digital SLR that Fuji made. There hasn't been one since, and it's about 4 or 5 years old now, I think. And the sensor in here is a crop size sensor, so it's the same as the D300, and it's in a Nikon body, effectively. It's like the Nikon D200 body. It takes Nikon lenses. It has a Nikon lens mount, so Fuji didn't have to make a whole bunch of digital lenses, digital SLR lenses there. And it also works with the flash. The flash, I can control the Nikon flashes with this as well. So it's effectively a Nikon but with a Fuji sensor in it. And this sensor says it's 12 megapixels, but it's not really. It's more like 6 megapixels. And I'm just going to show you how this camera, older camera, not full frame, shouldn't have such a huge dynamic range, absolutely rocks. Okay, so let's go to the photos. What I've done is, in my back garden, it was a nice sunny day, so I took some photos. And if I did them at the same settings for this one. So this one is at 250th of a second, and that is with the Fuji FinePix S5Pro. And then if we go to an equivalent one, this is the Nikon full frame. So what you'll notice is that the full frame to the Fuji, there's a little bit of a difference in the actual size of the image, as in if you look closely over here you'll see much more of the door all the way to the wall on the Nikon compared to the Fuji, where it is a little bit more squeezed in. But I didn't want to change the focal length on the lens, so it's using the same lens. And straight away I can see something different. I'll just double check that these are both exactly, yes, they're both RAWs, but one is different from the other. One is the Fuji, one's the Nikon. Now straight away, without me even looking, I know that this one on the right, this one here, has to be the Fuji. Why? Look at the clouds. If we go like this. Okay, so let's say we zoom in. The one on the left, although it's ISO 100 and meant to be ISO 100, there is an exposure difference. But look at the clouds. Now, I would say here, I can see a lot more cloud detail. If we go over this way, the Nikon just has lost so much detail. So let's go into the develop settings and see what we can rescue from the Nikon. So bring the recovery right up. Let's bring the exposure down by 1 stop, down to there. And look at that. Look at what is going on with this clouds. That is just information which is lost. I just cannot get any of that back. Now let's go to the Fuji. So again, it was a pretty bright day. Let's bring the recovery all the way up and the exposure down by a stop. Now look at that. That is almost perfectly exposed there. If we switch between the two of them, here we have the Fuji, here we have the Nikon. Oh, Fuji, Nikon, Fuji, Nikon. Look at that again. Look at the sky. Lovely. Look at it on the Nikon. Yikes. Now that's because the Fuji is using a special type of CCD sensor instead of a CMOS sensor, and what it's doing is that it has a certain different sizes of photo sites. So it's got a big hole and a small one for the light to come in, and is able to capture a much bigger dynamic range. Meanwhile, like on the Nikon here, what was too bright is just lost. You know, with the Fuji, fantastic. But let's go to the extreme version of it. Look at this. Okay, nuclear sunshine, and in the Fuji again, nuclear, absolute killing of the sensor. Is there anything we can rescue from the Nikon? Put the recovery all the way up. Let's bring the blacks up, and let's bring the exposure all the way down to -4. Okay, and nah, we're getting nothing. Let's bring the blacks back down. Does that make any difference? That makes no difference at all. Brightness down. Ugh. Okay, so that's what I was going with. Oh my goodness, look at that. Yeah, really super struggling there. Let's go to the Fuji. Now again, you're thinking, probably cannot rescue anything here. Let's go, recovery all the way up. Oh, I'm seeing something in the sky. And then let's bring the exposure down. Ooh. Okay, and look at that. That is the pink bits. Okay, we've lost detail there. But oh my goodness, look, from actually being able to see clouds to just absolutely nothing. Probably the best spot would have been bringing it down to about -2.5. Brightness down as well, just a touch. So that is what I can get out of a Fuji. So that's the Fuji shot, left and right, edited. And the Nikon, nothing. Absolutely no information saved in the sky there. But well, the Fuji, look at that. Now that is some serious dynamic range that you can get in your camera. And what would be good with this one is if we were to do an edit of this one. Let's say we reset it so it's like blown away. I like the brightness of the fence here. I like all that. I could bring a brush in and just paint over the sky, paint over here, bring all that in. So there, I would say, in that photo, with just a little bit of editing with the brush, I've managed to get a really nice sky shot. So for doing photos of buildings in sunny days, I think the Fuji, a 5-year-old digital SLR, which, you know, Fuji doesn't even make any digital SLRs anymore, kicks ass. Absolutely kicks ass. So dynamic range, Fuji wins hands down. Nikon. Whew. Fuji, Nikon. There you go.